to the new series over here, which I dub Good Bar Boulevard, of course, which is inspired, from
Hmm.
the book of NGP, Nice Guys and Players,
Yeah.
Mr. Goodbar. So let me go ahead and get started. So, Mr. Goodbar, you said it yourself. He's that man that's desirable by
Yeah,
all
it's
women.
and it's not even. I mean, women might call him conventionally handsome, but
Right.
if you think about it, the biggest thing is really his body. He got an above
Yeah.
average body build. He might or might not be physically handsome. Some women will call him handsome. Some women will say he all right, because I can think of some women I dealt with. They weren't feeling my looks, but they were definitely feeling me otherwise. So
Right.
that's why I was like, and I've told guys, I was like, don't get caught up. You still want to fix yourself up. Let's be clear on that. Don't be trying to
But you
be all
don't have to
jacked
be
up.
pretty. You don't have to
Um,
be pretty, which is something you actually touch. He's not a pretty boy. You could be average, but have your
mm,
physique on point, which what you actually noted in the book and everything.
yeah,
And so that's why I have pretty much had to like make this series because he's touching on it. And the thing is, I think we need to go ahead and have a sit down and we need to go deeper. And I actually
okay,
wanted to go ahead and preface this real quick because I was watching Bad Boys for Life, Bad Boys Part 3, for y'all don't
okay.
know. And Will Smith, he plays Mike Lowry. And if anybody has seen Bad Boys for Life, there was this woman that he had relations with pretty much when he was younger, before I guess he was already a cop, but he was undercover. And what stuck out was this part when he was explaining, he was putting two and two together, like, I think her son is also my son. But he touched on this. He said, Marcus, everything that you see, the way I walk, the way I talk,
Hmm.
Mike Lowry, she created.
Mm,
She taught me everything I know. What you see today as Mike Lowry is because of her. And then I
okay.
was also thinking about the movie Love Don't Cost a Thing with Nick Cannon and Christina Milian. He
Hmm.
played Al Johnson.
Hmm.
And the story is she wrecked her car and he was willing to fix it for free, but only if she would go out with him for the next 2 weeks to get his popular game up at school and make him fly. And she
Hmm.
actually pretty much spent, I think, like nearly $1,000 on his makeover.
Mm.
So, Rob, what we're here to discuss tonight is the so-called handsome man, is the handsome man, Mr. Goodbar. Did women actually create men to be handsome? Are they the ones that pretty much nitpick all the attributes which describe handsome men?
Well, I mean, it's still that's at the end of the day. See, that's why I always tell men. I say, look, because guys be trying to check out other men and trying to say, you handsome, I don't see how you getting a woman. But if you talk to the same woman, they looking at a whole bunch of other stuff. First of all, when we saying handsome, we
Yeah.
talking just a face. Women will look at a guy, like I said, women will look at a guy, think he handsome, but that still be her little brother. She looking at his body. That's the primary, I'm gonna say primary thing, not the only thing. That it
Hmm.
plays a big part. Okay, he got a good frame and stuff. All right, as far as I mean, even depending on what they want to do, he could be what they call ugly sexy, which means his face might be questionable, but to her, but he got a nice body. He got it. And I've seen women go crazy. Like I remember I was at this club in DC, and these women were going crazy over this dude that was tall. He had a pockmarked face and all that, but he had a physique and how he was carrying himself. That's another part. How the man carrying himself. Because think
Mm.
about sex appeal when we look at a woman and we think she's sexy. It ain't
Yeah.
necessary if she could be cute and pretty, but she don't have no curves or something, or she could be one of those big girls who are cute. When we ain't going crazy, she don't have those curves. But then you get that woman who probably average looking in the face, but got a killer body. And
Mm.
then how she present that body. See, a man can have a good body, like say he in the gym and everything, but he wearing like loose clothes and stuff. He don't really show his physique real loose. They can't tell anything, you
Yeah.
know? So that's a physical aspect, but then is he masculine? Is he masculine? Because think about it. And somebody pointed this out. You got a lot of butch lesbians who, on a pure aesthetic level, if you look at their bone structure, you're like, damn, if they were female. I actually knew a lesbian and stuff. She had some guys chasing her, and she was a butch lesbian. And I said, well, you do have a nice body. She's like, fuck you, right? Fuck you.
Yeah.
But you don't see them as sexy because they be acting masculine. So that plays a part. And then the charisma part. See, it's a lot of factors. See, sex appeal is more intangible. Now, the physical part is mainly the body, also the lips, lips and eyes, because you got to look them in the eye for sex. So that's important. And then they
Right.
looking at your lips. A woman, she'll suck a man's dick before kissing something. That's how deep it is, right? But as far as that, I mean, yeah, if you got a good face and all of that, it depends on how masculine it looks like. Some men need to let that beard grow out. Some men need to just have that look. See, I'll put it like this: a man sex appeal is about the look that he can develop. He can develop it. Because I knew this dude, and my co-parent saw the guy and said, "Oh yeah, he's sexy." She told me. She was honest with me. But he showed me pictures of him when he was younger, and he was like, "Yeah, Mom, I was like Joe Nerd." So, but what he did, he let his hair grow. He got locks. Shoot, he might jump in this conversation. He follows me on IG, but I remember the pictures. And this dude had women throwing themselves, like literally throwing themselves, but he developed his look. In fact, he modeled and stuff, and he showed me his like the nerd pictures, and then what he was as an adult, and then the way he carried himself, he was like just cool and calm. See, this thing with Mr. Goodbar is he either he had the personality and like natural body type, and then had a set of circumstances with women. I'm gonna go into that what they do anyway. Right, where they brought it out of, or somebody just had a set of circumstances they brought it out. Because sometimes if you look and somebody try to be objective about it, there's some guys who would be called Mr. Goodbar, but if you line them up against maybe some other men, even some nice guys, you would say the nice guys look better. Like women would say, you know what, he's more handsome, but he's missing something. He don't got that he don't got that spark, he don't got that chemistry.
The edge.
Yeah, the edge. And that's the whole point. Because part of Mr. Goodbar's thing is he don't really chase the person. I mean, I respect guys who talk about approach and all of that's cool, not waiting for choosers. I respect that because some guys, let's be real, most guys, you better approach. Yeah. You better approach. But a Mr. Goodbar, he gets approached. Sometimes women will be blatant about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes women will be blatant about it. Now, I'm older now. I'm still hit the gym and everything, so I don't get it. But like I did, but I remember when I was younger, I had women coming up to me, handing me their number on the street. And I talked to some fellas I talked to like in a circle. They still getting it like that. Yeah. See, that's when you reached it and what happens is because they get in that dynamic, they can deal with women on their own terms. Yeah. And a woman throw it at them, they can always say, "Oh, well, I don't feel like going out." It's like, "What you doing?" "I'm watching Star Trek now." It's like they make the woman do it. And see, one thing, when women show interest in a man, and the man is kind of like, they actually get horny. And so the man, he can deal with him. He can deal with those women on their own time, Yeah. And that's part of the thing. You see, like I said, it's not just a physical thing. Now, bringing it back around to the handsome man, a lot of handsome men, especially nowadays, thinking, well, if I look good, how come these women ain't going crazy? You don't have that sex appeal. That's all to it. Looks is one thing, but sex appeal is an action. Steve Harvey, I remember Steve Harvey. He had this guy he was trying to teach game to. And I looked at the guy, he looked just like this player I knew. But his behavior was he looked just like him. And I was just like, why are you having trouble? But he didn't have the attitude. He didn't have that swag.
You know what? This is what I wanted to touch on. With swag, that's a definition. That's the political definition, the political term that we use. Mm-hmm. But really what we mean is magnetism.
Like, you got a lot of guys who want to get that woman. They trying all this stuff. Well, what can I say? What can I do? A man gets his magnetism from women. He has to have sex. It got to be the right woman, though. Seriously, I can take anybody, even an incel. And if I hook them up with the right woman, I guarantee they will get, if they get turned out especially, they'll change up. I remember this is back in the late 80s, right? I was working on this job. It was a summer job because I was still in school. I remember it was a white guy. Now, when you first met this white guy, he looked like Hitler Youth. He looked like his hair. He had blondish hair, but it was shaved. He had a buzz thing. He looked very conservative, right? Now he had some stuff in him. Now I started seeing like he had more in him because I gave a party, right? And I had a flyer for people in the office, all the black people in the office. He happened to get a flyer. I didn't think anything. He showed up to the party with a girlfriend, right? But he still kind of had that conservative edge, right? Okay, fast forward a few weeks, a new young lady came on the job, and her sex appeal was like, boom. You know, we had the happy hour, and I remember I walked out. The young lady kind of walked out with me, you know, gave me a hug and everything. He walked out too, because he was checking for her, right? So what happened was, I guess they got back together because all of a sudden, around the office, we found out they started going out. Now, like I said, her sex appeal was literally boom. You ever see some of those women, they just drip the sex appeal? Like their actions, how they look. Everything about her was sex. It's like, damn. Like she had no brakes on her sexuality, right?
Right.
These two started going out. And then, you know, I left the job and I kept up with some people who still work there. I say maybe in 6 months, dude started letting his hair grow out. He totally came out. Last I heard, they went to some Indian reservation in Arizona. And I was like, damn, dude looked like and even behaved like Hitler Youth. He was real conservative. He wasn't racist, though, but he was just conservative, kind of locked in. She opened him the fuck up. So if you take some of these incels and you hook them up with the right woman sexually, in fact, that's what I would say. If a man worked to get to that point, he get to the right woman, but it has to be a sexually open woman. See, that's where the magnetism come on. Because here's what happens: if a man get with that woman who got his shit like could drive and stuff, he hook up with her, and I say, all they need is sex. Maybe 3 months. 3 months. I guarantee. He getting women like crazy because what's happening is she bringing out his testosterone. That's going to make him more aggressive. If he was like so and timid, after he get with that real receptive type of woman, boom. Now, let's be clear. Every woman don't necessarily have that. So in what you'll find with a lot of good bar types, they had that one woman who brought it out. I had a woman that brought it out in me. She was from Greece. I was like, so I hooked up with her and I noticed the change almost overnight. I still remember the first time I really busted her, like busted. It was like, it was a transcendental experience. She opened me the fuck up. And I had like some game before that. I could talk to women, do all that stuff, but hadn't had that boom.
She made you see heaven.
Yeah. But she brought a lot out of me, and all of a sudden, and other people around me like picked up the change too. But it just changed them. It brought something out that was in me. So what you'll find is if you talk to some guys, there was that one woman. For some dudes, it could have been when they were teenagers and some older woman in the neighborhood brought it out. Somebody who just really brought it out sexually. And see, once you do that, once you bring that sexual energy out, it actually affects everything else. It affects your tone of voice when you're talking to a woman. It affects how you look at them, how you interact with them. And it does change your body because it's creating that testosterone. That's going to change your body up. You don't want to go to the gym. I don't have to convince you to about body game. You're going to go anyway. You also going to be more aggressive. See, a lot of men are afraid to talk. the guy will still talk to the woman. But then as he develops, he gonna find the women gonna come to him. Because if you pay attention to women, and this is the thing with Mr. Good Boss, women will flirt with them. Maybe not come right up and say, hey, I want to go out with you. But they will flirt with them. They'll make it easy. But like I said, when I was at my heyday, it was just handed numbers. And even now, I said in a car video today, I'll be 57 in a few months. Now I don't get it like I did when I was younger, but I still get attention from some women. Now it's a little bit calmer, so it's not throwing it. But then they see me how I'm carrying myself. But I'm gonna be real with you. I'll just say it right here. I got a lot of women who got wedding rings on who be extremely friendly. Now, seriously, that's why I don't talk about it. I respect the approach and going out your way, but I don't have a strong concept of doing it, except if that woman is so fine, I don't think I'll see her again. I always say, no, approach her, don't take a chance. Because that sex appeal colors everything you do. It covers, like if a woman hear you got that sexual energy and it's flowing good. A woman hear your voice is going to sound a certain way. You're going to naturally groom yourself in such a way to draw attention. It's going to be second nature to put on, that scent. You're going to walk a certain way. So it's some powerful stuff.
But I do want to agree with you. And I'm also going to go another way. Also, a breakup can pretty much change your whole appeal. Because I'm going to tell you this. What you see now, this all came from a breakup back in 2006.
Okay.
I just wanted to see what I look like without no hair. And then I went ahead and I hit the gym and everything. And actually that was starting to propel me to getting into, exotic entertainment. Unfortunately, but fortunately, that's where I learned everything. But you're right. It got to a point where when I became this and this became a lifestyle, it did charge magnetism. You kind of even had a moment, and I'm sure you experienced this in the gym too your whole entire life. When a cute girl that you seen in the gym decided to come up and ask you if you was using a bench and you're not even nowhere near the bench, or something like that. Yeah, and it's like this girl ain't never ever came up and never did that to me at all, but this time or a couple of times, and the next thing you know, she's starting to converse with you.
Oh, I get that now. So if I get that now, when I was younger. Because seriously, I get some young. I've met quite a few youngins at my gym and stuff. Oh shoot, one of them, she follows me. She might see this too. Once you develop that sexual magnetism, you always gonna get women. The only thing is it don't discriminate. So you're gonna get some women you probably not attracted to. So you gotta weed through all of that.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna tell you this, when you gain weight, like when you gain that muscle, that weight goes up. And I'm gonna tell you, much love to the BBWs, but I attract a lot of BBWs.
Oh, they get more aggressive anyway. See, that's the bad part of it. It don't, because you get the fine ones if you can be around them, and they're gonna be friendly to you at the very least. I'm gonna tell you another part of the game too. They'll try to set you up. If they can't get with you for whatever reason, they got friends. And see, here's the beauty of sexual chemistry, sexual magnetism. You don't have to be perfect built. You just have to have a good, decent body build. There's a whole lot of men who got sexual magnetism, but if you look at them, they might look like construction workers.
Right.
Seriously, they might look like construction workers, and some dude might say, well, he got some weight on him. How does he carry himself? Because I remember one time I knew this dude, and he wasn't cut or something. He had a good size. He was blue collar and everything. Women were like literally fighting over him. No, literally. But if you look at him, he looked like maybe just somebody come in the house and do it. Got that blue collar body.
Yeah.
It's cousin T-Tar would call it a bedroom body. I'm doing a series called Good Bar Clans. One of the clans, I call them bangers. There's a big man. They the ones, but they gregarious and stuff. They got size. I'm serious. If you look at a lot of men who really get played thrown at them and be getting a lot of play, they got that linebacker, fullback build. Even sometimes defensive. If you serious, I was like, man, it's incredible. But it's a good body build. It's a good body build because it makes the see, on a deeper level, getting back to the whole body thing, depending on your bodybuilding, the woman, it makes them feel a certain way. Like if they
Right.
see a man who got like big arms and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, he look like he can protect them. If he got big shoulders, he look like he take responsibility. He got big chest. You know, that kind of takes them back to when they were baby girl lying on daddy's chest. So it makes
Mm-hmm.
them feel something. Like you get a lot of women, you know, they got to feel something when they look at the body. You
That's right.
know, you might have those powerful legs. What it say to the woman? Oh, this motherfucker can thrust. So, and yeah, you definitely fellas might not want to hear, but they looking at the print.
Yeah.
They looking at the print. If you ain't showing, you better convince them you're a grower.
Well, I
So,
wanted to get here. I wanted to like segue into the whole high value section. Now, from what I see, and I'm not taking a jab at any other content creators. I'm just looking at like, at the, everything that, that's encompassed and surrounds. But one of the things I'm not seeing is, like you said, the sex appeal.
mm,
I don't hear women, I don't hear the box dripping for the high value man. Does the is the high value man, from what you see, because I don't see it, is the gift of gab missing from the high value man? Where's the sex appeal? Is the sex appeal missing from this high value man? He has
basically.
everything. Yeah, but I
Um,
don't see nobody trying to fuck him though.
Here's the thing: for a high value man who lacks that raw sex appeal to get a woman, he has to look a certain way. I talk about in my book, The Masked Man. They got to have everything on point where they got to have enough of it. Look good enough. They really got to fix up their look, their style. Like Mr. Goodbar, he can miss going to the barber a few times. He can say, you know what, I don't need the barber to bless me for a couple of weeks. He's still gonna get play. His clothes can be whatever, and he's still gonna get some play. The masked
Right.
man, or what they call a high value man now, he's actually still select, but not in the same way. And his shit gotta be tight.
Mm.
And usually his shit is good until a woman gets past all that other stuff. Like she get past how much money he make, his status and all that. And then usually women don't like what's underneath. And
Ah.
seriously, that's really what it happens. So they not really, it's a very minor sex. They almost got to talk themselves into even finding that man attractive, you know.
Ooh.
But he don't have that raw sex appeal. He had now. I'm gonna tell you what, with a high value man he gotta go hard in the gym. He
Ooh.
gotta go hard. I mean, no, his shit gotta be tight. He gotta look as he better hit that. He better have a barber on standby. He probably have to hit the barber twice a week. I mean,
Shit.
he basically the high value man got to have a certain level of game if
Yeah,
they
that's what
really
I was
want to win.
assuming.
It's
Because it
straight
looks like the
game.
high value. Yeah, it seems like he has zero game. Like, well, I was at the club in LA, and you see all
Mm-hmm.
these cat popping bottles, but they're really not talking to nobody. And then you see the girls always leaving from their booth, from their section and everything. They rather just pretty much just hang out on the dance floor with like the regular common guys, the ones with the baseball hats and the
There
hats.
you go.
Yeah, but it's like the so-called ballers or whatever, or the ones with the resources. It's almost as if they just don't got it.
Well, let me hit you with something. All those guys like that aren't masked men. See, the true masked man, he still gotta have he gotta develop a little, he gotta develop a little bit of sex appeal, at least on the surface. That's why they have to look good.
Yeah,
They look, they can't they hey, like right now, kind of just letting this shit grow out. If I was on that high value thing, all of this would be tight. Like I said,
hmm,
barber twice a week. I mean, this shit gotta be tight enough to get the woman to stop. And usually, yeah, women will still deal with them, but then women will say they had something missing. Like I remember when I was dealing with this woman back in the day. I ain't take her out once. I just go over her place and bone her. She told me she had orgasms every time. Seriously, I ain't spend one penny on her. But
mm,
so I was fair about it. She could mess with somebody else. I wouldn't lose any sleep, right?
yeah,
She told me she met this guy, had everything, but just didn't do something. He ain't had that spark. She said wrong. He had everything on paper.
Yeah.
Everything on paper. She even said he looked good, but he didn't have a spark. Meanwhile, Mr. Rom, who just really go over there, never took her out, never did any. Let's go over there and fuck her. She couldn't get enough.
Hmm.
She couldn't get enough.
Yo, and
My dick stayed in her shit. My dick stayed in her shit without any problem.
and I
You
gotta say
know.
this real quick. Shout out to Alan Roger Curry because he mentioned in his book that he was actually smashing someone who, this chick who was engaged to one of those, tech CEOs or whatever that was,
Mm-hmm.
making millions or whatever, and it was the same thing. Like she loved him.
Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, keep talking.
Yeah, she loved him, but that sex appeal was just missing. And in some
Yeah.
instances, sometimes I feel like sex appeal really isn't defined in layman's terms. Like you say, like you say that, on your end, you pretty much have like the body game. And then, of course, there's the charisma and probably even the confidence. But still, some men still have like trouble unleashing that. Now, a woman may inspire that to come out, like you mentioned in the beginning, like Homeboy, like the one you said that looked like Hitler or whatever. He
Mm-hmm.
actually needed like that, like that woman to come and like
What's the
bring,
charisma?
yeah, bring the good bar out of him.
Well, I'm gonna
So,
tell you. Let me hit you. Let me go a little deeper. And I kind of hit it in my book, Sexual Chemistry. It's that sexual charisma.
right,
It's that sexual charisma. Like for the men listening, and the women already understand it because they know how they look at us. But for the men, it's like you ever see that woman, like she ain't no fashion model.
right.
She ain't no fashion model, anything. She's got a nice body though. Okay, that's check. But the way she clicks with men is like the men can't get enough of her. Like
Mm,
like the sex, like I said, the sex is dripping off of them. But if you like sit back and take a look at the woman, it's like, well, she ain't the best looking woman. She ain't the
right.
best looking woman in the room, but it's just something about
She's
her.
sexy though. Yeah, like the brat.
Yeah,
Like the brat was sexy to me back, and she wear baggy clothes. It was something about the brat. I
yeah,
didn't know
and
what
that's
it
the
was.
thing. Seriously, and that's the key thing. That's the key thing. And see, one of the things that hurt men, see, women will actually work to develop their sex appeal. Men really don't. Even like a lot of guys who are Mr. Good Bar, they it for the majority it's some luck with it because there's nothing really teaching it. Because I have one of the few books trying to teach men sex appeal. Because I'll say this, no disrespect to other dating coaches, but if a man got sex appeal, he can run anything.
Oh,
He,
ooh,
he can
ooh.
run in any style, any single dating coach guy. I would say, okay, let's work on this man's sex appeal. He followed my program. And it might take him a few years, but he can run anything. If he want to
Mm,
sit back and chill, we'll wait for choosing signals. He gonna get 'em. If he said he want to approach, he'll get them, even though he don't need to approach, but he can still do it. Whatever system, you got to
right.
have sex appeal because that's what it comes down to. Does the woman have sex? Want to have sex with?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. I don't care. I don't care what you do because a woman they make their decision in a few seconds anyway. In fact, 3 seconds is a long time for them. They take one look at a man and say he can get it, he can't get it, and it's hard as hell for a man to change her mind. Now it could happen, and women do have sex with guys they not necessarily sexually attracted to. They might just be just that horny. What the dudes took them out, spend all this money. The woman feel halfway obligated, say, "She look, let me just lay there and let him do his business or something." All right,
Yeah.
but you know, it's the sex appeal thing. Just the men who have it like that. It's not really taught. It's not really shared because like at best you might have somebody who grew up with an uncle or even a father who had it and they just kind of watched their father how he carried himself with women because that's a part of it too. How do you respond? How do you act around women? Right?
Yeah.
How your behavior around women. Like, okay, I remember I was at a relationship conference and they had a famous person. I forgot. He was famous. He had been on some talk shows. It's like one of those relationship experts. And women weren't really feeling him. Women were not feeling him. They were kind of ignoring him, right? But yet they were paying attention. I'm sitting there. I'm just sitting there just being quiet. I was on one panel where two panels. One was cool. Another one, they kind of pissed me off. So that was the first day of the conference. The second day, I was like, fuck all this. I'm going to sit here and just sell my books. Women were constantly coming over to my table, including one woman who was on a panel that pissed me off because they were trying to go in on my book, these PhDs. And she hit me up afterwards. I ain't give her my email either. She found my stuff and she hit me up and she's like, Brother Wills, yeah, I like what you were talking about and all of that. It's like, whatever. Whatever. Y'all were pissing me off. I just wanted to make my money then. But it came down to that section and you had some guys up there complaining and stuff. But in one of the women, like I said, they had a bunch of women at that thing talking to me. They said, nah, you just don't got it. That's how she said it. She ain't break it down. She said, you just don't got it.
No, I want to touch on that right there. Tonality. If you could rank tonality when it comes to sex appeal, where would you put it? And I think this is actually game for the fellas in the chat right now because a lot of people, they just talk out of the side of their neck. They don't know how to be articulate or they don't know how to swing.
Oh, it's very important.
Let's go into tonality for a second. Go ahead.
Okay, well, you know what? People always talking about mouthpiece and everything, right?
Right.
Part of it ain't the words, because I've had guys hit me up, well, what can I say? What can I say? I say it's deeper than that. It's the tone of your voice and everything. In fact, to this day, I've had a lot of women say they like the tone of my voice.
They say that about 50 Cent. A lot of people that interviewed him, they said the same thing about 50.
Yeah. And seriously, that's something. That's why singers be getting theirs. Is how you talk because it's creating a vibration. Because see, understand with women to turn them on, you got to appeal to their five senses. So the vision part is definitely there. They got to like how you look anyway. Or they like how you look. Even if to the rest of the population, you're average, they got to like how you look. Okay, boom. They got to like how you smell. That's why scents are very important. That's why, a man can get a lot of pussy just by washing up regularly.
Got the juices in the back right there in case y'all want to look.
So your tonality, it's how you talk. Seriously, if you listen to a lot of guys who get pussy like crazy, and then a lot of guys who ain't, listen to their voice tone, listen to their speech intonation. Even listen. We got to bring race into it. Do they sound bougie? Or do they sound like cool and down and everything? It's the tone and all of that. That's the mouthpiece. You could talk about, I don't know, you could talk about the political situation, but you talk to them in such a way, that's actually putting them into a certain trance. I remember I was doing this live seminar, and it was all women in there. And when I just started talking, I noticed the women, they started going back and forth like this. And in fact, the thing was, I was married at the time. One of the women would have fucked me if I wanted to. It was right there. It was right there. And they were just moving back and forth and stuff. They were in a trance. If you get a woman like that, boom. I'm going to tell you what, pimps know that. Preachers know that. That's why preachers...
Oh, hell yeah.
That's why preachers be getting theirs. If you look at a preacher, right? In fact, it's taught in some seminaries about being handsome and how you looking and everything. You can put that woman into a trance. And sometimes women, they'll talk to you. They just want to hear you talk. The persuasion can come without you really doing anything. You just talking regular. And then you looking at them, because a woman can be moved by just how a man look at her. See, that's a part of the game too. How you look. See, if a guy's like talking with a woman, he's like, yeah, and this and that. Like, I'm like, nah. You can make a woman like have an orgasm just by looking at her. Let's be real. A woman don't need to touch. She don't need a man to penetrate her to have an orgasm. She just need to be around him in his energy. Watch how a woman is on a dance. She might be on a dance floor grooving with a guy, going crazy, backing that shit up. Then, after they finish dancing, she might just go off real quick. She go into the bathroom. She got to wipe that shit down there. She done popped off an orgasm.
No, you ain't lying, blood. You not. I'm gonna tell on myself because when I was dancing and I did a private party, it was his birthday girl. She,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it to her. She was young. I think she literally just turned 21, and
Mm-hmm.
she actually selected me off the website personally. And the moment you laid them down on the ground and you're about to go ahead and crawl in between their legs and go ahead and gyrate and do, do what I do or whatever, I noticed before I even got down, you can smell the
Oh,
orgasm. You
yeah.
can. So I didn't even get down there and do anything yet. And the moment I opened the legs up, it's like I saw like the white creamy stuff that came in through like the little spandex gym sweats or whatever, the leggings or whatever you call them. I
Mm-hmm.
saw it. And I'm like, holy shit, did this girl just nut
Yeah,
before I even
probably.
came down and did it? Yeah, she did. She did. And I was probably like the first guy that she was probably attracted to that
Mm-hmm.
even gotten that close, probably gotten that sexual with her, even though it was just a routine, but I was
Mm-hmm.
probably her first, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
No, you probably were.
Yeah, so
Well,
no, you're absolutely right
that's
about
a
that.
see. That's another thing too. Sometimes, like I remember, I had a friend of mine, right, and this friend of mine, she was a self-proclaimed freak,
Uh-huh.
and we had met. We had met over the phone back. This is back. This is actually an online thing, right? And we had met and we were talking. We talking phone sex and everything, right? Doing our little thing, right? But we're also honest about who we were messing with outside of that. And I remember we just shoot the breeze sometimes in some conversations. And she called me up one time. She said, "Ron, I saw this man whose aura was so strong. I had to take a seat. I saw him at a gas station. I saw him. I had to just sit down."
Hmm.
That's how seriously that you have some men now. It's a small subculture of men who actually work on making a woman have an orgasm without touching them. But you really don't have to. If you carry yourself in a sexual manner, you could have a woman. She see you, and she might just pop right there. Or she might see you, look you in the eyes or something. She look in your eyes, and she be like, because an
Yeah, I heard
orgasm is
about that.
only, yeah, an orgasm is only 8 tenths of a second. So it ain't like one of those, they doing all
Yeah.
that, they fake it. Oh, just for the fellas listening, this how you know a woman's really getting into it. If you having sex with her, say, baby, how is that? And she can say, this is pretty good. I was thinking about the time. She do all that. She got some more work to do. If you getting into it, say, baby, how this feel? She's like, oh. If she can't talk, you got her now. You got her now. Just let me just give some sexual advice for some of the fellas, right? Um, you want to get a woman out of her left brain, which controls her speech, into her right brain, which doesn't talk. That's how you
Uh-huh.
know you're doing. The more she can talk, the more work you need to do.
Woo.
Now, it's not going to happen every single time, depending on what's going on with the woman and everything. It's not going to happen every single time, but you want to get proficient. So you actually, when I talk body game, you need to be able to last in the bedroom, right?
Yeah.
You last in the bedroom. But another thing too, even before you get to the bedroom, you need to get her comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Comfortable. Don't press it. Get her comfortable. Get her relaxed, because if she's carrying tension, she's gonna have a hard time orgasming because she's thinking about all this other stuff. You want to get her as relaxed as possible. Basically, the foreplay needs to start before you even touch her.
Yes, I just made a video about how the foreplay don't be popping no more, Rom. Like a lot of dudes don't know they don't have the kissing game. They don't.
Kissing game, anything. But even before that, just how you interact with her, just in her presence. Like, you need to be a strong presence around her. You need to get her comfortable. Get her comfortable.
Yeah.
Don't rush. Take your time. Take your time. Don't rush it. In fact, here's how you do it. Like, say y'all make you doing some foreplay, and she's like, stick it in, stick it in. Say, no, you're punished now. I'm taking my time. We're gonna go 15 more minutes. And she'd be like, okay, okay. Yeah, and she'd be like, God, take it. Where you want to stick it in? No, no. Also, too, also, too, don't neglect the breastises. I'm serious.
Never.
Don't neglect it, because really, if you spend some time on her breastises, that actually open her up. That's why women really breastfeed. Oh, they getting turned on. So
What do you say to the dudes who are just trying to smash all the time? A lot of people don't know about that foreplay game. I mean,
um
I really don't want to, I really don't want to go in on a lot of the red pill content creators out there who pretty much talk about like, fuck, 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 smash, smash, smash. You get your
they
nut
lying.
and you out. It's like, yeah, like
Okay, they lying
how
like a
do you get, how do you
motherfucker.
get, how do you
They ain't getting
deprogram
that.
that shit? Like,
They ain't
don't
get
worry about pleasing her. Don't worry about pleasing her. Like,
that's
aim
stupid.
to me.
Okay, hold up.
Go in,
Uh,
Ramen, to the clip.
look,